Hi guys, my name is Megan and today we're talking all about some fantasy romance recommendations. Alright, so we're going to be talking about some fantasy romance recommendations, but I would not call all of these romantasy. I really don't like that kind of subgenre, but I mean a couple of these do kind of maybe qualify as romantasy, but we'll get into that. Anyway, let's go ahead and dive into the book recommendations I have for you today. Alright, so the first one I'd like to talk about is going to be Silver in the Wood. This is a very kind of cottagecore daydream goes a little bit wrong. This is following Tobias, who is kind of maybe a little bit magical. He lives in the woods around Green Hollow. He is kind of like the protector of the wood. And when Green Hollow Hall gets a new lord, his name is Henry Silver, and Henry just starts, wandering in the woods. And there's a little bit of a romantic subplot, but Tobias is also asexual, so he doesn't necessarily pick up on Henry's flirting. And there's a lot of magical things going on, but like I said, this is a cottagecore daydream that kind of goes a little bit wrong. So it's a little bit dark, it's a little bit scary, but it's also really, really fun. And the romance in this is very sweet, and it's just so soft and kind of background to all the magical mishaps that are going on. Next up I have the Captive Prince series. This one is definitely not for those under 18, and if you are going to be diving into this series, please check all of the trigger warnings because there are a lot of them, and this book series does get really, really, really dark really fast. But anyway, the love story between Damon and Lauren is very much enemies, hate each other's guts, to lovers where they're the sweetest person you could ever want to be around. And the transformation between all of that is so good. But like I said, this one is a very dark romance, it's very dark romance too. But this is like a fantasy version of Greece meets French Bordeaux kind of inspired stuff. And it's fantastic. And again, very dark. Read the trigger warnings before diving in. But honestly, one of the best fantasy books that doesn't have magic, and the romance in this is just perfect. And well, it's not perfect. It's very much a journey for them, but it's also so good. It's one that I would highly recommend. Next up I have That Time I Got Drunk and Saved a Demon. This one I would classify as a romantasy. This one, however, does not take itself very seriously, and it's really super funny, and it's following Cinnamon, who is a spice farmer, and she really doesn't want to be a chosen one, so she does everything in her power to not be a chosen one. And when the festival comes around for, choosing the chosen one to go fight demons or whatever, she's not chosen, and she gets to party, she gets drunk with her friends, and on her way home, she rescues a demon, and thus sets off a whole bunch of adventures she didn't really want to go on, but she also falls in love with this demon, and starts making friends with other demons along the way, and frees the demons from the spell that they've all been under, and it's a fantastic adventure. Again, does not take itself too seriously, but this is not for those under 18, it gets real spicy real fast, so just keep that in mind. Next up I have Marriage to Kitsune-sama. This one is definitely not for those under 18 as well, but this is following Inaho, who is, he's been selected to go to the Kitsune world and marry Kitsune-sama and also be a teacher for the Kitsune as they go out into the world because they are messengers and they need to learn how the human world works. And magical shenanigans start happening, and Subaru, who's Kitsune-sama, has been cursed to kill the one that he loves. So their marriage gets put on hold, a whole lot of magical shenanigans happen, and again, it's such a cute romance as these two figure out how to defeat the curse, but also as they fall in love slowly and they actually get to develop a relationship before getting married. It's so cute, and definitely not for those under 18. And then the last book I'd like to recommend is going to be A Taste of Golden Iron. This is one of the best romantasy type books I've ever read. This is following Kato, who is a very shy prince, and his sister is the sultan, and Kato, who accidentally finds himself at odds with his sister's baby daddy, I guess. And that causes a whole lot of tension within the family, but also with Kato getting some of his privileges taken away, and he's put on an investigation for some crimes that are happening in the kingdom, and he also gets assigned a new guard who is Evermere, and they don't really get along at first. It's very much an I'm doing my job and I don't like you and you're gonna leave me alone, to falling in love with each other very, very slowly and then all at once. And it's so sweet, especially because these characters get to be a mess around each other, but also they get to deal with Kato's very bad social anxiety and the misadventures that go on while they're trying to investigate these crimes that are going on and figuring out there's a whole host of things going on behind the scenes that none of them really knew about. And like the romance in this is just very soft and sweet, and then it just hits all at once, and then it's just like fantastic. This is a book I would recommend to anybody to read. It's fantastic and just one of the best fantasy books I've read. Alright, so those are some of my fantasy romance book recommendations. Do you guys have any fantasy romances you'd like to recommend? Let me know down below. If you guys like this video, don't forget the like button. If you haven't already but would like to, go and hit the subscribe button. And if you'd like to follow me on social media for more bookish stuff, check out the links down below. Alrighty, bye guys.